Forgotten $230 million Browns QB piles pressure on Shedeur Sanders as rookie continues to defy critics. Deshaun Watson, the Cleveland Browns QB1 before a devastating Achilles injury rules him out last season, has posted new footage of himself practicing. Focus only on victories every day. More glory. Watson posted on Instagram along with footage of him doing light drills with a football. Deshaun Watson suffered season-ending Achilles injury. Watson ruptured his Achilles tendon back in October last year during a 21-14 loss to the Cincinnati Bengals. The injury came when his leg hyperextended on a non-contact play as he tried to carry the ball during the first snap. Watson immediately fell to the ground after the move, and a cart came and wheeled the emotional quarterback off the field. He would later tear his right Achilles tendon again in January of this year, which essentially ruled him out for most of the 2025 season. The fallout of Watson's injury was huge as the Browns had given the Houston Texans 3 first-round draft picks, a 2023 third-round pick, and a 2024 fourth-round pick for the quarterback. It led to Browns co-owner Jimmy Haslam admitting at the NFL's annual meeting that his team's trade for Watson in March 2022 was a big swing and miss. "We thought we had the quarterback. We didn't," Haslam said. "And we gave up a lot of draft picks to get him, so we've got to dig ourselves out of that hole." When the franchise signed Watson, they gave him a 5-year, fully guaranteed $230 million contract. And as the Browns look to solve their quarterback problem for this season, they still have to pay Watson $46 million in each of the next 2 seasons. Head coach Kevin Stefanski has solved his current quarterback dilemma for the short term after he named Joe Flacco the Week 1 starter for their season opener against the Bengals. Flacco starting comes as no surprise, as the veteran has been the one taking the majority of first-team reps in training, but Stefanski did cause controversy with his depth chart. It's left Shedeur Sanders behind Kenny Pickett and fellow rookie Dillon Gabriel as them team's QB4, even though he impressed on his Browns debut against the Carolina Panthers in preseason. Despite the setback, one NFL insider exclusively told TalkSport he thinks Shedeur can snatch the job off Flacco. Shedeur Sanders goes viral after impressing in practice. Calls for Sanders to rise up the depth chart have recently intensified after new footage of him throwing a dime in practice went viral on social media. "Ball placement elite. Let him go and you will regret it," one fan said. "Joe Flacco better not have a bad game," another wrote on X. "Fourth string is ridiculous. Trade talks should be considered," another posted. Amazingly, a Browns team that finished 3-14 last season continued to be one of the biggest talking points in the NFL. However, most of the chatter is due to their messy QB room. They call him the forgotten $230 million man because in a league that devours narratives as fast as players devour yardage, memory is a short field, and headlines are shorter. He walks through the Browns facility like a statue someone forgot to dust. Polished, expensive, and strangely out of sync with the noise around him. The money stitched into his name on paper nags at the room like an old debt, and everyone, reporters, fans, and teammates alike, keeps glancing back to see if the investment has finally spoken. Across the hall, the rookie moves like he learned what pressure meant in a different language and translated it into something else: calm. Shedeur Sanders, still young enough to be called the kid by the veterans and old enough to shrug off pitying smiles, has taken to the job with the stubborn grace of someone who grew up watching impossible throws become routine on highlight reels. He reads progressions like a poet reading meter, with rhythm, patience, and a taste for surprising pauses. The dichotomy is deliciously theatrical. On paper, the $230 million man is the anchor, the supposed certainty. On the turf, the rookie is the current, unpredictable, warm, and propulsive. The locker room turns into a kind of chemistry lab where both elements fizz and react. Veteran players watch, not in the malicious way of opponents, but like researchers fascinated by an experiment that could alter their salary negotiations. There's an invisible scoreboard in the heads of everyone involved. Investment versus return, name recognition versus game performance, legacy versus potential. The fans chant the old currency, dollars, past decisions, expectations, but Shedeur responds with a different tender. Yards, timing, wins. He keeps producing something that feels larger than his contract or his rookie status. He makes throws that render announcers breathless and skeptics momentarily mute. Pressure is a funny creature here. For the forgotten $230 million QB, pressure is a historical weight, the accumulated size of a city that traded patience for a headline and expects trophies in return. For Shedeur, pressure is a spotlight with a very specific angle. People watching to see if this kid can withstand the same storms that toppled others. It's not that he hasn't felt it, he has. It's that he's discovered a way to turn it into a companion instead of a captor. He uses every whispered doubt as a metronome to pace his plays, an auditory click track that keeps his feet moving and his eyes steady. In conversations that leak to podcasts and newspaper columns, columnists draw Venn diagrams with photos of the two men, as if a perfect overlap should solve the Browns' identity crisis. Social media sells hot takes like concession stand pretzels. Salty, addictive, and utterly ephemeral. But in the actual games, under lights and chalk dust and the smell of turf warmed by hot breath, the ledger looks different. Shedeur's ledger lists plays, not pundits. The other ledger, the one stuffed with contract clauses and optics, sits thick and inert, like a book someone forgot to finish. There are moments when the forgotten man steps onto the field and the past catches up to him like a rainstorm. He attempts to assert himself, to remind everyone that money can buy opportunity if not always redemption. But football is mercilessly democratic. On any Sunday, the ball chooses where it wants to go. Sometimes it wants the veteran, sometimes it wants the rookie. The paradox of the Browns' season becomes an opera of competing voices. Applause for the present, regret for the past, hope for the future. Shedeur's defiance is not loud. It's architectural. He builds drives like someone assembling a fragile bridge out of plays. He places the ball in spots where only his receivers and the geometry of the defense can find it. When criticism rises, he replies with a cadence of completion percentages, third down conversions, and sideline smiles that announce subtly that he is enjoying the work. His body language betrays a man who knows the difference between being seen and being understood. Critics can see the throws. They haven't quite understood the quiet method behind them. There's a scene, recurring in the film of the season, where both quarterbacks cross paths in the hallway after practice. It's not confrontational. It's almost ritualistic. They exchange a nod that acknowledges the oddness of their shared occupation. One stocked with the currency of headlines, the other with the currency of potential. The rest of the team watches from their lockers, home field spectators, to a truce that is as fragile and